Hey guys, Alex from Pratt Printing Press here, coming at you with some fresh content. I hope you are doing well. Like I said, I've got some fresh content, and I'm super excited about today's video because we're gonna do something a little bit different with today's video. Yeah, so I decided to branch out and see what other kind of content I could explore on this channel. So I was talking with my wife the other day, and she said, "You know what? I think would be really cool. I think it'd be really cool if you just got absolutely shredded." So I took that advice and I decided to pursue that. So I want to show you the results that I have achieved so far, and I'm pretty excited about how this came out. Give me one moment. Do you think this is what she had in mind? I'm the shredder. Did I overdo it a little bit? Maybe just a little bit. Okay, well, let's talk about how I made this, and yeah, let's get into it. Roll the intro. Alright, so goofy intro's out of the way. I'm always telling you guys here on the channel to reach out to me if there's something specific that you would like to have built, that you would like to commission me to build. It could be a favorite prop from a movie, or maybe a piece of a costume set you're getting ready for a cosplay and you want something 3D printed. I always tell you guys to reach out to me because you never know. There's a lot of ridiculous files out there for a lot of ridiculous props, and one of my favorite things to do is to make commissioned builds for people. Well, you guys listened. That's right, we've got some friends that have been following the channel, and they ended up reaching out to me to see if I could make them some special builds. So what is it exactly that they asked me to build? Well, the first thing that they asked me to build, you've already seen. It's this shredder mask. Now I have to say, this thing is, it's massive. This is probably the biggest helmet that I've ever made. I didn't realize just how big this helmet would be when I started printing it, but this thing is a monster. Now this job did end up starting as just the shredder mask, but pretty quickly before I'd even gotten very far into this, they asked if I'd be able to make one more prop for them. So the other prop that I ended up making is this Casey Jones hockey mask. And I have to say, I think that this came out really great too. It's a really basic design. I mean, it's just a white mask, right? But the way that we were able to get this sanded down smooth and get a nice glossy finish on this, it's simple and elegant, and it looks just like the one from the movie. So if you're a fan of the movies, you'd be really excited about getting this prop. Now, there are so many different ways that you can watch the Ninja Turtles, and honestly, when you say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles today, everyone probably thinks of something different. However, if you're a millennial like me and you grew up on these movies, what I always think of when I think of the Ninja Turtles is going to be the 90s movies. The 90s movies were truly something special, and honestly, kids today probably would have a hard time appreciating it, but if you grew up on it, there's just a special place that this holds in my heart. To be honest too, while I was working on this, we tried to get the movies from the library so that we could get psyched up about the build, and they only had the second one. Now to be fair, the second one is a fantastic movie, so I wasn't upset about it, but this one right here, this helmet and the Casey Jones mask, they both come from the 1990, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, so the first one. So I want to do what I usually do in a YouTube video, and I want to show you the steps and the journey that it took to get these to finished props from 3D printed items. But along the way, I do want to show you a couple of useful tools and tips that I implemented for these builds, and I hope that's something that you can use at home too. So let's get the easier prop out of the way first, starting with this Casey Jones mask. Again, this guy's really simple. It's not all that complicated, but this sanded down really smooth, and I'm really happy with the finish that I got on this. And I think that that gloss coat just really sells the whole thing. So by this point, you guys already know the drill. We start with a 3D printed mask, right? This guy comes out raw, it's got some layer lines. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to knock out those layer lines, sand it down, and then start getting it smooth. Now I mentioned earlier in the video that I do want to show off some tools throughout this video, and I want to take a moment to point out this tool right here. Some of you may already be familiar with what this is or how you would use this in a 3D print post-processing setup, but this literally is a foot sander. I got this on Amazon for like 20 bucks, I think, maybe 25. If I can find the link for it, I will drop it in the description of today's video. But this is intended to sand down your dry feet. And it literally has a little pad on the front that you can remove and then put new pads on here. I actually really like this tool. Sometimes my palm sander is just a little bit too powerful, or sometimes it can just kind of rip through your print as you're trying to get into smaller areas. This right here is not quite as powerful, It holds back just a little bit, but it's great for knocking down those layer lines, getting a smooth finish, and especially getting into those tighter nooks and crannies that I might not want to necessarily tear up with my Dremel or my palm sander. So yeah, if you're looking to add another tool to your tool belt, this right here is not that expensive, and it's a tool that I actually use a lot more regularly. I just restocked the pads for this because I love using this for sanding. It makes post-processing a lot easier, especially for those smaller nooks and crannies that you're trying to get into. So yeah, foot sander. Who knew? By now, you guys know the process. You start sanding it with some rough grit, try to knock down those layer lines, and then you slowly build your way up. I usually start at like a 60 or an 80 grit, and then I want to build up to about 200, something like that, with dry sanding before I start moving on to wet sanding and filler priming. Speaking of filler primer, you already know it. I use it all the time. It's the Duplicolor filler primer. I use the red. The gray stuff works okay too. The red's my favorite. You can get this at O'Reilly's. You can get it at some auto parts stores. I honestly typically stock up on these by just buying a 6-pack of these online. But filler primer, this stuff's awesome. The Duplicolor Automotive Filler Primer. Use this stuff for your prints. So you know the drill. Sand, fill, and then right before I was ready to put the final coat on it, especially because it's going to be a white coat, I wanted to go ahead and hit this with a black sandable primer. This is going to be the last coat that I put down before I end up putting the white on. The white was super simple, nothing fancy. I just used a Rust-Oleum white gloss, covered that bad boy. It literally took like 2 coats to cover everything. So this stuff covers great, especially if you got a good primer on underneath it. So no issues here. Really nothing major to report about the white paint. It's white paint, and I put it on a white hockey mask. So yeah, but it came out great. But the final step, of course, in that paint job is going to be using a clear coat. Still using Duplicolor here. I'm using the 1K clear coat that's a gloss, high gloss finish. So I do what I usually do. I start with a couple of light dust coats, and then I just hit it with a nice heavy wet coat. And yeah, it came out great. The results speak for themselves. Like I said, this piece right here was a really simple build. The only thing that was a little bit complicated with this, and it wasn't really that complicated, but something that I want to point out in this video, is the strapping system in the back. So I looked this up to see if it would be easier for me to just buy a goalie's strapping system, or if it'd be easier to make it at home. Believe it or not, this is called a 5-point harness, and this strap, if you were to buy it online, is like $25 for the cheapest option of it, maybe $30, depending on where you're looking. And it's a really basic strap system. So I took some of the nylon straps that I already had and the different buckles and all that stuff, and I built it myself. It really wasn't that complicated. I just cut out a few pieces to the right length, and everything sits in here. Like I could literally remove it if I wanted to, so nothing is glued in here. But this gives you a lot of adjustability, and it's a legit 5-point harness for a goalie's hockey mask. So yeah, real simple, nothing all that complicated. This was the most complicated thing about the whole build, and it took me like 10 minutes to make the strap, so no big deal at all. Now, both of these files I ended up finding from the same creator on Colts 3D. I will be sure to drop a link in the description of today's video if you're wanting to check out the files and print these for yourself. But now, let's talk about the big boy. Like I said, this helmet was a lot larger than I had originally anticipated. I've seen the movies, but I didn't think it would be all that big, and this thing it's a big helmet. So I printed this in a few different pieces. There's 3 main components to it. There is the face mask, there is the blade trident thing across the top, and then of course there's the main dome piece that you wear over your head. This was printed in 1 piece. The blade I ended up chopping up, and I printed it in 4 pieces? Yeah, 4 pieces, that's right. So I printed the blade thing in 4 pieces. It was literally just this base here, and then 1, 2, 3 of the individual blades, and then I just attached them together. I PLA welded them, and then I just hid those seams, and you genuinely cannot tell looking at this prop. It looks like this blade was always 1 piece. And the main helmet. This thing is huge. I do have a large printer, my Elegoo Neptune 3, and I did think about printing this in 1 shot. However, my Bamboo printer, the quality is my Elegoo can't compete with the quality of my Bamboo printer. So I went ahead and printed this in multiple pieces on my Bamboo P1S. This guy was printed in, I think this was 8 pieces. I honestly can't even remember anymore. Looking at it, I'm pretty sure it was 8 pieces. No, it was just 6 pieces. So this was 6 pieces that I ended up welding together. If you're unfamiliar with the process of PLA welding and you have a smaller printer and you want to make big props at home, but you don't know how to do that, I actually have a dedicated YouTube video right up here on my YouTube channel where you can check that out and you can learn how to make one massive prop using smaller 3D printers. It takes a little bit of time to get good at it, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. And honestly, I'm really happy with the results here. You genuinely can't tell that this thing was several different pieces welded together. Now, the post-processing followed the same steps as the other print and all my other prints. Sand, fill, sand, fill, sand, fill. Are you detecting a pattern here? Yes, there's a pattern with building these. But when it came to the paint, that's where this prop differed a little bit from the Casey Jones mask. The Casey Jones mask, I just hit it with a spray paint can, right? This guy, I actually did a lot of hand painting myself. So after this guy was done with post-processing and I'd already primed it and it had a black primer coat on, it was ready for paint, that's when I decided to go to the actual hand painting stage of this build. For this, I went to Hobby Lobby and I picked up this folk art paint. This thing was like literally like $1.50, and it's the black cherry color, number 224, if you care. So this is the paint that I ended up using to achieve this kind of dark red, burgundy, maroon looking, well, black cherry paint job for this helmet. Now, to accomplish that finish, I ended up using a technique called dry brushing. That's where I literally take a paint palette that I 3D printed, and I take a cheap paintbrush. This is one that I got from the dollar store. And I literally just put some on there, and then you try to clean off your brush. So I ended up doing a couple of coats like that. I just dabbed some paint on here, brushed it off with my brush so that it was a little bit less on there, and then I dry brushed it onto my print. After a couple of coats of that, I was really happy with the red that I had, and it was time to move on to the next phase. The next phase was a little bit less fun. It was a process. It was one of those kind of moments where you just kind of have to put on a movie and just zone out and just lock in and just understand that you're going to be there for a minute. And what I'm talking about is all of these metallic details here. The 3D model does have raised surfaces, so you do see where you're supposed to paint these. So it's not like I was eyeballing all of these. That would be a bit of a nightmare. So I'm grateful that the file did include raised textures so that you could see where you need to paint these. But there really was no way around it. It's not like I was going to go taping off all of these things. So I hand painted all of these details. To do that, I literally just used a paintbrush, and I used this Vallejo liquid metal paint. This guy is really great for achieving a good metallic finish. I also love using this for detailing, for adding some chipping and weathering. But yeah, that was the process that I used for painting in all those details. It took a hot minute, but in the end, it was worth it. I'm very happy with how this came out. Now, the finish for the blades on the top of the helmet and for this mouthpiece is a process that you've seen me do before, but for this, I didn't actually paint this. I mean, I did, but I didn't. What do I mean by that? I followed the same post-processing steps as usual. I sanded this down, I got it to a place where I was happy with it, and then I got this guy with a nice glossy black base coat. After I got it to a nice glossy black finish, I then used graphite rub. This stuff is the same stuff that I use for my Dr. Doom mask, my Mandalorian helmet. You probably see me use this on other props. But literally, you just want a gloss base coat. You take some of this, and it's this powder. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not on the camera. It's literally a powder. It's almost like pencil shavings. And then you just take a cotton swab, and you just dab it on there a little bit at a time, and you just buff it into the actual finish. I want to say that it takes time to get good at this process, but honestly, as long as you sand this well and you got it a nice glossy black base coat, you just do the thing. You just dab it on there and buff it in, and this finish comes out really great. Just give it a little bit of time, make sure you're buffing it in there good. Start a little bit at a time and build your way up if you need to, and you have a very realistic metallic finish. Again, one of the nice things about this kind of a finish is that it looks realistic. So I can actually put fingerprints into this finish and then buff them out the way that I could with an actual piece of metal. So if you do this and you find that there's too many fingerprints and you want to clean it up a little bit, just grab some graphite rub it in there, and it's good as new. It's really great. It's not as delicate as a paint job where you have to worry about chipping and stuff like that. This is literally, it's buffed in there. That's how it works. It's awesome stuff. Now, one more tool that I want to point out is the mesh that I used inside of this mask. If you can see that. The process that I used to put that mesh in there was literally mosquito net. Now, the creator of the file does include a version of this mask that does have a built-in like chain kind of a system that looks kind of like a chicken wire fence almost. But I was a little bit nervous that there is a little bit more room for error. Like if the printer messed up on something or if somebody poked at it, it could pop out. I just didn't want to run that kind of a risk. So I opted to use mosquito net. Once you have the mosquito net, it's a fairly simple process. I literally just kind of took some measurements and I made sure that it fit nicely into the mask. And then I slowly but surely hot glued it in there. It's a small touch, but it adds just a little bit more dimensionality to the mask itself. You can use that mosquito net for a lot of different things. You could use it for eyes if you wanted to like have mesh looking eyes and you didn't want to 3D print them, whatever. Mosquito net is another one of those tools that I wanted to show off in today's video, and I think it's good. I think it adds a little bit more dimension to the print. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Once I had all the details hand painted in for this, I had 2 more things that I wanted to do to get this finished done. Finished? Yeah. First off, I needed to clear coat it so that this would be protected. For that, I just used the Duplicolor 1K matte finish, and I think it came out real good. Same process as always. Start out light, give it real light dust coats, and then give it a nice wet coat at the end. And then after I was sure that all of my surfaces were protected, that beautiful paint job was protected, I just gave it a black wash to just bring it down just a little bit. It's subtle. You might not even be able to pick it up on camera, but if you're in person looking at this thing, you can tell that there's just little wear and tear in here with the black wash that just kind of makes it look a little bit more aged and worn. And then at that point, this thing was ready to go. I glued the spikes on the top, and then I added some foam padding on the inside so that it would fit a little bit more comfortably around the head. And yeah, I'm super happy with that. So here in the end, these are the finished products, and I'm super happy with them. I'm honestly kind of sad to ship them away. They do take up a lot of space in my office, so I am excited to get that space back, but I'm kind of sad to see these props go because these came out really great, and these are a piece of my childhood that I'm holding right here. That's one of the things that I love about 3D printing, honestly, is that there could be these childhood props, childhood memories that I have, and I can bring them to life in a really unique way where I could reach out and touch and grab. I was taking pictures with this Shredder helmet, and I literally was walking down the hall, and I could see the shadow of the Shredder helmet. And I felt like a little kid again, excited about playing dress up. So this is a fun community. I'm super happy to be a part of it. And I'm super happy for all of you guys who support me by watching this video. Now, if you've watched to this point in the video and you've liked what you've seen and you want to make sure that you don't miss any new uploads, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and click that bell icon. That way you never miss any notifications when I upload a new video. And last but not least, I want to encourage you guys again, if you have some sort of a unique prop that you would like to have in your home someday, it could be a far-fetched dream, it could be something super random, whatever it is, don't hesitate to reach out because you never know. I also want to thank my friends and followers who did order these commission builds. You guys are supporting me and my family, and I super appreciate that. With every project that I'm able to make, I'm able to improve on my skills, and you guys gave me an opportunity to make something special to me, and I get to bless you guys with it. And so just thank you for your continued support. All right, that's going to be it from me, guys. Honestly, I went back and forth on how I could close out this video, what I could say, and at the end of the day, I don't think anything closes out this video as well as saying, "Cowabunga, dudes." See you next time.
Ha ha ha! I made a funny!
But wait! There's more!
Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go, 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 go! Ninja, ninja, rap! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go, 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 go!
Babies! They're babies! Cowabunga. You! Yes, you. I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. People tell me that I'm a sharp dresser. I bet you wish that you dressed this sharp.
How did we... How did we get here?
I am Urokusaki.
Is it obvious that I'm wearing like 10 hoodies right now? Or did you just believe this pure muscle right here? I don't know about these gains, but I sure hope that I gain some followers from this video.